Hey, hey folks, thank you so much for joining. And in this today topic, we are going to explore how we can, integrate Mobx, a package that is for the state management in Flutter. So we can integrate and use our Mobx package in our Flutter applications to manage our state, obviously. Yeah, so there are, a lot of things to talk about. And before that, let me introduce myself. So my name is Bhavik Makwana. I have been working with Flutter, like exploring Flutter, you can say, since 2017. Just become a Google developer expert for Flutter and Dart, and beside of that, also exploring things. So and learning a new tag. So currently learning a Golang 2. So and a big Marvel fan. So if you want to talk about other than tags, so we can talk about Marvel things for sure. Upcoming Marvel releases. So yeah, so without wasting time, let's go and get started. So in this talk, as we know, like we are going to talk about Mobx, so and a state management. So before that, what we actually know about state, like how, what do you mean by state? That everyone has a different, maybe a perception about state, how the state works and all of the stuff. For me, as we are going to play with the widget and all of the stuff. So for me, state is a information that can be read when the widget is built, and it can be changed while it's lifetime of the widget. So over here, using this calculation, you can see the application state. Whenever the application will state going to change, it will run a build method again, and it will reflect in your UI. So your UI going to change. So a piece of information that is our state, whenever this is going to change, and then our UI going to change. So this is a simple definition for the state. And there are two types of widgets in Flutter. One is a stateless, and then other is a stateful. So you can say a stateless widget is kind of a dumb widget. It's immutable widget that is not going to change in the lifetime of particular widget the app is running on or not. So there is no way you can mutate that state of particular stateless widget. So we also have a stateful widget. You can say it is a wise widget. So we will use a stateful widget if you want to change the state of widget using a set state method. So we have a set state method, and using that method only we can change particular variable or particular object, and that will reflect our UI. So it is going to rebuild our build method, and it will rerun the UI. So that is for the stateful widget. And this is how the stateful widget works. So it has a parent and child. So there's a kind of a hierarchy. If we have a stateful widget, some kind of example, if we say, so we have a parent, then it has a two child, and one child has again a one child. So there is a one book of drawback. So in the earlier version, we can pass on the object using constructor, or and we can call a set state method to build our UI again. But there is a drawback. If you want to render, update our UI from one child to another, as we say, child A or child B, from child B we want to update our child A. So it is nearly impossible, or we have to to the parent. We have to pass some data to the parent, and then we have to pass it again to the child A. So it is quite difficult to manage this state, this manage these logics and all of the stuff, and it become tedious to handle all this stuff. So uh, it is a kind of a drawback that we Flutter developer were facing. So there, and there were some solutions available. So inherited widget, one is like from the Flutter package, Flutter framework itself. So you can directly use inherited widget, but it had a limited scope. Then again, it by the RAMI, the provider has come, and it is quite real popular right now. One of the package for state management. Then we also have a Redux. So if you are coming from the JavaScript background, you must have a knowledge about Redux, or you kind of know about Redux. And then there is a block, one of the popular state management package, a library for managing the state in Flutter. And then Rx. So Rx is kind of for everyone, like Rx Dart, Rx Java, Rx Kotlin, or whatnot. So I was a big fan of RX and my Android dev. So I don't have much experience, but yeah, I did use RX a lot in my Android applications, native Android applications. And I quite started using in RX Dart and block patterns combined in my Flutter applications too. But it had some drawback. It was not feeling quite good, and I was quite confused at that time too. I was writing too much boilerplate code and other stuff too. So this is pretty much my condition, like what should I do, what should I not, should I actually change my perception about how should I manage my state, how should I change to other state management package and all of that stuff. So like 1.5 year ago, then I met a Mobx. I was simply come across one tweet about a Mobx, and I just try to learn about it a bit, and then I kind of fond of it right now. So Mobx is, as we have written over here, it is a simple to connect and the reactive data of your application with the UI. So it is simple. It is really natural that you actually can feel that it's you are writing a less boilerplate code. You are directly updating some widget, and it will directly update your sorry it will you are going to directly update your variable or particular state or your particular object, and it will without your knowing, without you do anything else, it will update your widget too, your UI too. So it's quite good, was feel natural to me. Then it has RX, some points from the RX too. So it was quite easy to pick up the Mobx for me. So it had observables and reactions. So what is being consumed is called as observables, and where is called as the reactions. And whenever the observables that is consumed is going to change, all the reactions are going to rerun. So this is the simple fundamental of Mobx, and this is the core concept of Mobx. So first, as I have talked earlier, it is about observables that is going to consume, we are going to consume it. So whenever this observable is going to change, we are going to notify our reactions. It will notify the reactions, and it will re-render our UI as a side effect. So if you have a UI, if you want to show a toast message, a snack bar, or anything like that, a pop-up, anything like that, so we can call using reactions. And it may also fire some actions. It is a part of Mobx as well. So actions like it will help you to mutate your observables. So again, it's going to change something, and it will reflect in your UI at the app side. So this is a simple Mobx triad, you can say, and this will help you to these simple three things, and you are good to go with the Mobx. So yeah, so let's learn about observables. So we have to import one package called mobx.dart. We have to firstly download the in your prospect.yaml file. You have to define the Mobx package and the Flutter Mobx package, and our observable will look like in pure Mobx concept. It's like something like this: final counter is equal to observable, and we are in the observable, we are initializing a default value as 0. So this is something how the Mobx observable in Mobx look like. Then here is our full store. So we have a default application as a counter incremental application as our default sample of the Flutter when we create a Flutter application. So we have our counter class over here that has a logic of changing the value, counter value, I mean incrementing it. So it has a counter, like constructor, default constructor, then a value that is observable, and then there is a get value, sorry, a getter that will going to get a value from the observable, and then there is a set value to set the value to the new to the observable. So again, like why we are, I was talking about boilerplate code, but again this is feel like a much more boilerplate code to us. Like, why should we choose that? So here comes a solution that mostly we are using a build runner to generate some code in Flutter applications. So we also have a Mobx code gen. So that is going to help us to generate some pre-built like a code for our counters, that particular logic. So over here we are going to again like import the mobx.dart file. Then we are going to uh, like create a one file of counter.g.dart. It will be automatically created, but we are going to say it is a part of counter.g.dart. So whenever you are going to run a build runner, so it will generate some boilerplate code for you. You don't have to do write anything extra. And then there is a class counter is equal to counter base with $counter. So it is like counter is equal to counter base is kind of extends, like counter extends counter base, and with is a mixin with that and dollar counter. This dollar counter will come from the counter.g.dart file that is generatable automatically. And this one is abstract class, and we are going to use annotations. So over here we are declaring our value, this integer, as observable. So it now becomes observables, and we are initializing our value as a 0. Again, like you see, if you may feel that it is kind of again a boilerplate code, but you actually simplify this code by writing your own live templates that actually I have created. So you just have to write store, then click enter, and your much of the boilerplate code will come over there predefined, and you can directly go for it. Like, so that kind of stuff you can do. But if you progress it, this will go on, doesn't matter, this four extra line that you have to write again and again. You can create a live templates, of course, but yeah, it will not matter a lot after you get used to these Mobx. Then apart from observables, we also have a computed observables. So here is a basic example of a context store. So we have in our context we have a first name and last name. So we will going to define it as observable, and then we have a computer observable. So it is again observable, but whenever a first name or a last name going to change, it will automatically update our full name. So you don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to rerun or manually something to update your full name. You just update first name or last name, anything, and it will directly affect your full name, and it will render in your reactions. Sorry, it will affect your reactions too. So if you are updating you are over there using a reaction, so it will update automatically. So you don't have to do anything extra. So yeah, then we have our actions. As we talked about, Mobx has a three-tied, like a kind of a triangle stuff. So observable, reaction, and actions. So we have actions. Is it? Uh, it kind of gives what should I say, a semantic meaning to our observable. So it will allow observable to update to the reactions until unless this action going to change. So we have a one counter observable, and we are going to use action to increment our counter value. So we are performing some action, and after this action completes, it will update the observable, and it will reflect at the UI side or wherever you are using. So this is the part of this is written in pure Mobx stuff. So using a code gen, it will look like it will look something like this. So integer value is equal to 0, then void increment, we are going to use action annotation, and value plus value, we are simply going to do value plus plus. Sorry, like I actually forgot to close the curly brace. And so here is a full counter class will look like after writing our logic about incrementing our application. So it will look like this. So yeah, forget about this top full line. You can reduce it by using the live templates and all other stuff. So we will only focus on observables and actions. So yeah, and so it is quite useful to you, helpful to have annotations. And then at the end we have a reactions. So whenever this observable computed and going to change, it will reflect in the reactions. So suppose we have a one string called hello world, it is observable. Then this final dispose equal to auto run. So we are this auto run is one reaction. So it is going to run every time our greeting, that is our observable, is going to change. So initially we have a value as a hello world. We are then it will as a default value it will surely print a hello world first of all, and then we are going to change it to hello mobx. Okay, so it will then automatically rerun this reaction, and it will print hello mobx. So this stuff it will run automatically. So there are multiple reactions available in the mobx, something like if you want to use some condition, so you can you use that too. So there are lots of reactions available. Yeah. So you can check out the doc, and yeah, and also do not forget to dispose whenever you are done with the auto run, like whenever you are done with the reactions, like we used to do with our animation controller and all of the stuff, stream controller and all of the stuff. So yeah, so this is what about reactions. And let's move on to the real code, and like let me walk through you how you can actually write your code for the mobx. Yeah, so let's jump to the code. So I have already actually written a counter application store. uh, okay, my application is not for running, sorry. I need to rerun it, but let me walk through the code. So this is the our mobx package, then our count of g.dart file, generated file, it is over here. You don't have to worry about what is written in over here. If you want to grasp a vast knowledge about it, so you can surely take a look into it. But if you just want to ignore it, you can ignore it. I rather told you to you can always check it out, how actually things works in the background. So it's good to check it out. uh, then our this counter store extends counter store this abstract class, and with our counter store this dollar counter store that is coming, that it is a mixin and coming from over here, this mixin. Okay, and we have abstract class, it has a counter observable and an action to increment our count. So at the UI side, let me walk through you there. So we have a column, we have an observer. So this observer is actually a reaction. Inside we have it available as a widget. So you can, as in Flutter everything is a widget. So we have it available as a widget. So and inside it is a reaction, pure reaction only. So whenever this counter we are using counter store dot counter over here. Okay, so whenever we are updating this counter, it will re-render this only particular portion, not whole build method, only particular portion, and it will re-render only this it will update our counter. So you can see I have actually you know written a print statement to showcase that. So very first time it will going to run our build method, then our observer runs this observer method, builder method. So I'm just going to clear this up, and I'm just going to increment. So you can see it is not going to over here, it is not going to build whole build method, it is just going to re-render this particular portion. So it's quite uh, performance Likewise, we are it also focus on the performance too. So yeah, so this is how the simple counter application look like. But in this demo, I'm also going to showcase how we can also change a theme using your Mobx. So I have already defined a theme over here, a theme data as a light, dark theme for dark theme dot data, and light theme as a light theme, theme dot data dot light. Okay. Then we also have Flutter also has a theme mode. So if you are using a system, it will directly pick from the system what our Android system is currently using, Android or iOS. Yeah. So let's first of all create a new class. Now I'm going to name it theme store. We'll copy it. I'm just going to I have actually already created a live template of my Mobx store, so I'm just going to simply write store. I'm going to paste these name, class name, theme underscore store dot g dot dart, then again theme store. Pretty easy, right? Then what I need to do over here, I just need to change this theme mode. And whenever this theme mode change, it will either pick this one or this light theme or dark theme, according to my choice. So I'm just simply going to make an observable, and we're going to use theme. You cannot trust your ID, right? Theme. I'm going to assign a default value as a system, and an action void change theme. Okay, and let's say a theme mode as a parameter, as a property that we are going to pass. Just name it mode instead, and we are just simply going to assign this mode to theme mode. For better readability, we are going to use expression body instead. And now we are going to run a build runner command. So this is how build runner command look like. But oh, I forgot to use a run. Uh-huh. This is the only thing I don't like about code generation. You have to, like write this. Either remember this, vol command, or either use aliases to, shorten this command, and you can use directly aliases. So it is going to take a bit of time to generate the code. So it will generate theme underscore store dot g dot dart file for us, and it will have this observable and these actions. So in the UI side, let me go to the UI side meanwhile. I'm going to use a provider to inject my this themes underscore store to whole application, because I want to access it everywhere. So I'm going to wrap my app class, this my app widget with a provider. I'm going to create store. Just going to use some formatting over here. So yeah, looks good. So we are now injecting our theme store using a provider. So directly we can use it over here, like this. Finally, store is equal to provider. You can use a different method of provider to get the read our store, read or watch. Here we are injecting our store to our my app class. So it is it contains a material app, so it will available throughout the applications. You can write logic to dispose to over here. So if you want to dispose things, so you can do it. Now I'm going to wrap my material app with observer widget that is react some for us, but as a widget. So it accepts a context, build context. But as we are not going to use it over here, so we will just write underscore over here. We are going to use fat arrow over here, and we are just going to pass this uh, theme mode the system. Instead we are going to pass theme store dot theme mode. Okay, so it is now available to a whole material application. Okay, and yeah, our theme store has been re-rendered. Let me just refresh it. Yeah. So our .g.dart file has been generated, so you can see the code is over here. We don't have to write much extra code, just these things, and you can see the error is also gone. Now I have already created a UI for this. So we have a light theme, dark theme system bottom sheet. So we have to tap on it, and whenever this change, this will going to update our whole application. So we don't have any kind of action over here. So what we will do, uh, we will go to this particular class that we have our methods. We are going to use theme store like this. We are going to define a theme store. We are going to use the chain dependency as we need a context. So for that we are going to use the chain dependency theme store, and sorry, provider. We are going to get data using a provider again. Dot of store. So yeah, like this we do have a theme store now, and we are going to access this theme store in this bottom sheet. So I have this bottom sheet. So I have already had these methods commented, just to make things quick for us. So we don't have to pass this thing, so that like this now, as we are defining it globally. So when user clicks on light, we will pass the light theme, then dark theme, and the system theme respectively. And over here we have a theme store, and I have named it as a change theme. Yeah, I do have a typo in my store, but yeah, we can ignore it as of now. And we are passing a mode over here, and we are just popping out our this bottom sheet using a pop method. So I'm just going to rerun whole application. So our provider can easily inject our theme store. So now it has been re-rendered. Let me just clear logs. Uh, let's click on a dark theme, and yeah, it worked. So you don't have to do anything extra. You can use this theme store using a provider or a get it or any kind of DI you want to use, and you can just have to use this method theme store dot change theme and pass your data, and it will affect your whole application without doing knowing you have to do any kind of manual stuff. So this simple theme Mobx is. So yeah, that's it about the live coding stuff. Yeah, so this is pretty me. Like I do love live coding, Flutter applications on stage. I did it. I do in most of my presentations. So yeah, so that's it about Mobx. It was simple reactions and observables, and you're good to go. So thank you so much, and yeah, I love you 3000. I picked this template from the slides go. I wanted to make my like this go also like this presentation also beautiful like our Flutter application. So and yeah, so if you have any kind of questions, so you can ping me yeah, on my social media accounts at Makwana. It's Makwana everywhere, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, everywhere. I'm using the same username, so you can ping me over there. You can ask your questions right away over here. Yeah, yeah, thank you so much, guys. If you have any kind of questions, you can type in the Slido, or you can ping me for sure anytime. Also, yeah, I will share my presentations and in my speaker blog, my presentation and respective links, so you can get access to Mobx documentation and all other stuff easily. I'll sell my one of the GitHub repository too, so you can see the example for the Mobx that I actually write down a boilerplate code that you can directly use in your application. A kind of it has some logic for the login, API calling, and all other stuff, network calls, so you can use that easily. So I'll share the respective link with you sooner.
Yep. Hi, Bhavik. So there are no questions. You can say goodbye now to your audience. That was an awesome talk. Thank you very much for being at droidCon APAC.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And have goodbye, everyone. Take care and Merry Christmas to you, like in advance. Thank you so much.